Welcome to today's lesson. I will begin from where we left last time, and we shall look at the HR policies principles. So meaning, which principles govern this spirit of formulation of HR policies. Now, one of the principles in it are common interest. And common interest, here it means that in the issue of coming up with policies, there are those people we call the major stakeholders. And these major stakeholders, they are the ones we must make sure that they form the tripartite approach towards the organizational dispensation. Meaning, when you come up with a policy, it should be obedient to the expectations of all the parties. It should not serve the interests of a singular party. All the parties, the employer, the employees, the society, and other initiatives or members involved in the same, they must feel that they are part and parcel of the policy, so that nobody feels maybe disenfranchised because one way or another the policy is favoring a certain section of the organization against the wishes of others. Number two, it is development. And under development, it means that you are coming up with a policy that is going to promote the welfare of the employees in terms of improving their status. Because the way an employee joins an organization, we are using the policies as means of sitting down and engaging with the employees. So we need to ask ourselves, are those policies going to be for the benefit of the employees and even other members who are involved in the same? Because if that doesn't happen, then it means we are like using the policies for the benefit of others, to an extent that the employees are deteriorating every now and then. So that should be accomplished. Number two, it is about recognition of work and accomplishment. Because different employees exhibit different characteristics in terms of maybe prowess, skills, and expertise. So if their productivity index is going to be for the benefit of the organization, then it means we need to put a mechanism in place that is going to ensure that these people are fully acknowledged and recognized for the efforts that they are putting in for the organization. Then let us not put a deaf ear on the presence of trade unions, because the welfare of the employees is paramount, and some of them can be pushed to join trade unions when they feel the normal way of taking care of their welfare has been vacated or it's not being maybe implemented. So if you are talking of the trade union, then we need to be very cautious, or maybe to be sure about the industrial relation, so that our relationship with our employees is not sour in terms of us having grievances every now and then. We should be able to follow forth. So we shall keep the trade unions in check if we obey what is expected of us. Then number five, it is about participation in management, because management, it is a collective responsibility and not an individual's prerogative. So we need to be able to come up with a policy, or maybe if we are formulating policies, then let all the major stakeholders be involved in the process so that they feel part and parcel of the same. And lastly, it is about facing the changes, because changes are inevitable, and therefore if they are inevitable, then it is a reminder to us that we need to be psychologically prepared for those changes and ensure that they are not going to be, in one way or another, missing the point and making us fail to get what is expected. So that was about the principles. So it tells us more in terms of what is expected and what is needed. So the next item is about the types. And these types, they are just for, we have the formulated, we have the implied, we have the imposed, and the last one is appeal. Now, a formulated policy, it is a wholesome policy where everybody has been involved in the entire process, and it is fronted by the parent organization in using to run their day-to-day activities. An implied policy, it is something that we have used every now and then, that is more of like a tradition. So it is not documented, and sometimes we don't know about it, but we are using it courtesy like of our own common sense, so that we are able to see this is wrong, this is right, this is good, this is bad, but it's not something that is documented. An imposed one, it is the one that is brought by the external players. And one of the major external players is the government, whereby they come up with their own restrictions, with their own sanctions, and all the operators have no choice but to follow those sanctions. And the last one is appealed, whereby the consumers of any policy, when they realize that the policy has failed to meet its threshold or expectations, then it simply goes back to try and find out which are the gray areas which we need to rectify, amend or change, so that the policy continues to be the best and it can be utilized every now and then to initiate all the entire processes. Apart from that, there are two ways in which we can document our policies or maybe acknowledge them. There is the formal way and there is the informal way. Now the formal way is like what we've said under formulated, whereby there are proper structures, mechanisms and guidelines in coming up with that policy, and therefore failure to obey those guidelines, such a policy is going to be rendered null and void, and therefore it cannot be consumed or maybe utilized in any serious engagement. Informal, there are those ones that are implied, but we utilize them, though they are not documented, we don't know about them, but we utilize them in our day-to-day running of business, and we try to ensure that it is done in the best interests so far, so that you don't lose on the same by failing also to acknowledge the same in its own spirits. So that one gives us a proper indicted over the same, and you can be able maybe to use it in performing your daily responsibilities. I'll finish up by the importance of those HR policies. Number one, it is about delegation, and therefore a policy allows an officer to be able to perform activities without further consultation from any other quarter, because already you have on board what you need to use. The other one is speedy decisions, meaning we don't take a long time to make decisions because already we have the ingredients to make those decisions through the policies, and therefore we use very little time to make decision. Coordination becomes very easy because proper guidelines in place courtesy of the policies allow you to be able to coordinate your activities with minimal strain and less maybe hiccups and stress. Next is about better control, which is about clear and clean supervision of your members of staff, and therefore they allow you to do your work with minimal strain. 5, they improve on the efficiency, because efficiency is when people are able to exhibit their best, and policies being their benchmarks, they will be able to express themselves very well. Uniformity is standardization, whereby we are in a position to express and expose our members to a similar level of treatment. And lastly, a policy inspires confidence to those who are going to be using it, or maybe those who are exposed to it in one way or another, and therefore allows them to do what is expected of them. So that is enough for these initiatives, and you can do further reading from the notes that are uploaded on the dashboard. And in case there is any question, it can be asked at that moment on the dashboard. I will be willing to answer. Thank you.